In this video, I talk about 5 things you should expect when you move to Germany. I hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that you should expect when you move to Germany. The first thing you should expect when moving to Germany, or really anywhere away from home, is homesickness. Now, depending on when you get here and what the situation is, you're probably going to go through a couple of months of what I call the honeymoon period, where everything is awesome, you're seeing all the sights, you're out exploring, and you're really getting to see things that you've never seen before, castles, cobblestone streets, that kind of thing. At some point, you're going to get into a routine. It usually happens around winter, and it usually happens around the holidays. So you stay inside more, people are celebrating, and you're alone. You may not have any friends yet. And that can be really daunting, and that can lead to some really bad homesickness. Now, fortunately, with today's technology, it's a lot easier to communicate with your family than it used to be. When I lived here between 2000 and 2004, we could make phone calls, but you had to pay for the phone calls, so it kind of could get expensive. Now, between WhatsApp and FaceTime or Zoom, you can get on and talk to your family and see them face to face over Wi-Fi, and it really doesn't cost you anything extra. So that's a benefit. So I would definitely recommend, if you're feeling homesick like that, make sure you stay in touch with your family and your friends. Set up Zoom calls or FaceTime calls or whatever. It'll really help you get through those periods. I know I talk with my family over FaceTime every week, so that really helps. Now, if you come here as a student, you may find it easier to find friends than if you come here for a job. If you're living in the dorms, which I would highly suggest if maybe you're young, 22, 23, something like that, and this is really your first time abroad or away from your family this far, I would definitely recommend staying in the dorms or in a student Wohnung or a shared apartment. That way you at least have a built-in friend network that you can tap into, and that will really help with your loneliness. If you move here for a job and you're living in a big city like Berlin or Munich or Hamburg, it can sometimes be easy to get lost in the crowd, honestly. You can be surrounded by all these people and still be very alone. Fortunately, in the big cities, they're pretty international. So you'll meet a wide variety of people who probably speak some English and can help you, and you can find a group to hang out with, that kind of thing. Which kind of brings me to my second point. And I'm pretty sure I say this in every video that I make like this, but you really need to learn the language. It can be easy if, say, you're working for an international company to say, well, I don't really need to learn the language because everyone in my office speaks English. But that's really going to hamper you from integrating into German society, if that's what you want. If your plan is to stay here for 2 years, to have a job, do some sightseeing, maybe you don't necessarily need to become fluent in German, but it would help if you learn some phrases. But if you move here and you plan on staying for the long term, you really need to learn the language. Honestly, I think it will help combat that feeling of isolation and loneliness if you can integrate yourself quicker into society. Definitely work on learning the language when you get here, and don't stay in your English bubble and make only friends who speak English. Get out there and meet locals and get to know your new country. Now, the third thing you can expect is almost a cliche as well, but you need to learn to expect a German directness. Germans don't necessarily mess around with beating around the bush or like being polite just to save your feelings. If they don't like something, they're going to tell you, oh, that's terrible. You did a terrible job on this, or this is terrible. They don't necessarily I don't think they mean to hurt your feelings, and they may tell you don't take it personally, but it's hard to not to because, we're so used to people being polite or saying things in a positive way. Like instead of saying, oh, that was terrible, maybe, something like, well, that isn't something necessarily that I like, or I would have done this differently, or something like that. We're usually we usually soft pedal things a little bit more than the Germans do. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it is what it is. So you need to expect German directness, and don't take it personally. Don't get your feelings hurt. Well, I can tell you, don't get your feelings hurt. You'll get your feelings hurt. You just have to develop that hard outer shell and get used to it and not let it hurt your feelings eventually, because they're going to tell you what they think. Now, the fourth thing you need to expect when moving to Germany is that it may take you some time to find an apartment, especially in the big cities like Berlin or Munich or Hamburg. There is definitely a housing shortage in Germany, so it can take you a while to find an apartment. Big cities like Berlin may have 100 people apply for the same apartment, so you need to be patient. Also, if I were you, I would probably open a German bank account before you get here. I did that. I opened a bank account with N26, not a sponsored video or anything. It was one of the only banks I found that I could open a German bank account outside of Germany. And so I went ahead and opened a bank account. And when you do that, you get issued a Schufa, which is basically the German equivalent of a credit report. And most landlords are going to want this Schufa. You're going to want to do everything you can do to make yourself competitive in the apartment hunt. It's hard enough out there for Germans to find apartments. It's especially hard for foreigners if you can't communicate or you don't have all the documents. You have to tell the landlord, well, I'm new here, I don't have a Schufa. They don't necessarily know if they can trust you to pay the rent. And why would they take a risk on somebody when they have 100 other people in line who would be a lot easier to work with? So just give yourself a competitive advantage and do everything you can to make the apartment hunt as easy as possible for yourself. And the fifth thing you need to expect when you move to Germany is that expect Germany to be more than castles and lederhosen. Sure, there are over 25,000 castles in Germany. And sure, if you go to Oktoberfest in Munich, people wear lederhosen. But there's way more to Germany than those things. Germany is a country of 80 million people with different customs, different traditions. Each state in Germany is going to have its own different customs and mores and things they celebrate and festivals. And these customs can vary between state to state and city to city, even village to village. So expect that there's a lot of cultural differences within Germany. And you should get to know those differences and experience them. In major cities like Berlin and Munich and Hamburg, you shouldn't have a problem finding a community for your tastes and your likes and your needs. They are very international communities, and they're very welcoming of foreigners and tend to be more liberal and more open-minded about things. Germany also has beautiful national parks and beautiful beaches. I know I didn't expect to find beautiful beaches in Germany, but there are beautiful beaches here. And Germany's biking infrastructure is first class. There are bike paths in every city and probably in most villages and towns. And they're pretty good usually. Even between cities, you'll find bike paths leading from village to village. And that's pretty cool. So you can ride your bike from one village to the next. There are so many different bike routes you can take, depending on your taste, from a bike trail that is centered around Martin Luther to various historical landmarks and things like that. So if you're into biking and seeing the countryside that way, Germany is an amazing place for that. So remember, Germany is way more than just lederhosen and castles. There is so much to do here, and you can probably find entertainment for whatever you like. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you found it entertaining and informative. And if you did like it, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please go ahead and do so. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you'll get notice when I post new videos. Until next time, guys, I will see you later.